Ah, look, the floating carcass of the proud franchise that is the San Jose Sharks. Is the rebuild set to bear fruits and bring this team back to its illustrious glory of about 5 years ago? Or are they just chumming the water for another year? Let's find out.
I admit it. Last year was rough.
The San Jose Sharks season was over roughly 10 seconds after the first puck drop. And I am being dead serious with that assessment. This team did not win a single game in the entire month of October. They only managed to win a combined 5 games in the last 3 months of the season. Their season featured not 1, but 2 10-plus game losing streaks. Their leading goal scorer was Fabian Zetterlund. Their leading point getter was Mikael Granlund. Both Anthony Duclair and Tomas Hertl ended the season as 2 of the Sharks' 5 leading point and goal scorers, despite the fact that they were both traded well before the season ended. Captain Logan Couture played in a grand total of 6 games last season. Sharks fans probably would have been happier if they'd stayed at home and watched Jaws 3D instead of watching one of these fucking games. Really, the only silver lining of this entire season for Sharks fans was watching the Pittsburgh Penguins flame out so that first round pick they got in exchange for Erik Karlsson ended up being a top 15 pick. But hey, there's nowhere to go but up. The San Jose Sharks finally figured out that David Quinn is an absolute bum about 3 years later than everybody else in the NHL and moved on from him after only 2 seasons in the Bay. But now who did they get to replace him? Why, one of his assistants, of course, because why would you look outside this coaching room that took you to such heights as 7th in the division 2 years ago? Warsofsky does at least have some head coaching experience as a member of the ECHL's South Carolina Stingrays and the AHL's Charlotte Checkers and Chicago Wolves. He's also been the guy responsible for the Sharks' penalty kill over the last 2 years, which is actually something they were not completely awful at. I don't think he'll be very successful in San Jose, not because of him, but because of the talent deficiencies that the Sharks have right now. But as long as he has 3 working brain cells, he'll be a better coach than David Quinn ever was.
You're a star, you're on top, somebody bring you some hair. You should kill yourself.
Honestly, your star player is still your captain, Logan Couture. I mean, he's well into the back 9 of his career at age 35, and he dealt with that pelvic injury last year that limited him to only 6 games, but he's still the heart and soul of this team. He's 67 games away from 1,000 on his career, and the hope is that 1 or 2 more seasons will get him there. I got a soft spot for Couture, and I really hope that he'll end up being the old Master Splinter in the Teenage Ninja Turtles meme, as guys like Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini carry the Sharks and him into the playoffs again, and maybe even to heights never seen before in San Jose.
Oh, this guy again.
The San Jose Sharks really didn't lose anybody in the offseason. That's kind of one of the benefits of being one of the worst teams in the league. Nobody wants to pick through the refuse heap that is your roster. Your top 6 includes players like William Eklund and Mikael Granlund, so really hoping that Macklin Celebrini is the real deal and can pot 40 goals like immediately, because you're going to get no scoring anywhere else unless Couture came out of a time machine to 5 years ago. The bottom 6 is littered with guys like Luke Kunin, Thomas Bordeleau, and Nico Sturm, but on the back end, that's where things are looking pretty bad. Mario Ferraro is on your top pairing right now, along with Ty Emberson. Those sound like the guys that you have on your top pairing in an NHL 24 dynasty 20 years down the line. You want to know how bad it is for the Sharks on the back end? They still are trotting out Marc-Edouard Vlasic for major minutes on the third pairing. That guy is 90 years old and has been sucking ever since he turned about 30. In goal, you shipped off the only decent piece you had last year in Kaapo Kähkönen, replacing him with 2 Devils castoffs in Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek. But hey, if you take those 2 guys together, they could almost kind of make a halfway decent backup goaltender. So you got that going for you. Honest to God, if you guys talk Joe Pavelski out of retirement, he could come back right now and be on your top power play unit.
Oh, Britta's in this?
Well, the biggest addition is obviously Macklin Celebrini, the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NHL draft. No pressure, kid. We just need you to be a 30-goal, 70-point guy immediately if we have any hope of being remotely watchable this season. Their other most promising prospect, Will Smith, is making the jump from BC to the NHL this year, making the unconventional decision to wear number 2 as a forward. I know it's ultimately meaningless, but you cannot count on this guy to make good decisions with a choice like that. No way he scores more than 20 points this year. The Sharks did sign Tyler Toffoli in free agency, their big get of the offseason. Because when you can give a guy $24 million over 4 years, when he's only hit 60 points 1 time and is on his 7th team, you just have to do it. Ignore those guffaws coming from the state of New Jersey, I'm sure that that's not related. But the ones from across the river are very much related, as they also decided to pay Alex Wennberg $5 million a year. That can't be right. No, that is right. Luckily, it's only a 2-year contract, but dear God, did Wenberg leave the San Jose front office holding a giant bag with a $sign on it? He better be giving his agent a big bonus this Christmas. Somebody whose agent is definitely not getting a bonus is Barclay Goodrose. He's being held hostage here after Chris Drury managed to get around his no-trade clause by simply waiving him and letting the Sharks pick him up. It's going to be so fun watching Sharks broadcast to seeing what message he blinks in Morse code to try and get a team to get him out of there.
That's not bad.
Honestly, Sharks, I'm rooting for good things for you. It's gotta be depressing being the only member of the can never get over the hump and win a Stanley Cup triumvirate of the Caps, Blues, and Sharks to never actually manage to break through and win one. So I'm hoping that you guys will manage to eventually get back to glory. And Macklin Celebrini is a very swaggy player. I love his backstory of his dad working for the Golden State Warriors and a bunch of players knowing him on the team. So here's hoping the hometown kid brings you back to glory.
The Gambletron 2000 says the winner is Cincinnati by 200 points. Why, you worthless hunk of junk?
But unfortunately, it won't be this year. There's virtually no chance that the San Jose Sharks are any good this year. In fact, I'd be shocked if they don't finish in the bottom of their division. Maybe if Warsofsky is actually a coaching genius and Celebrini turns into Bedard 2.0, Couture's incredible comeback rallies the rest of his team, Will Smith picking number 2 is actually a sign of his insane swag and he goes off this year, then maybe, just maybe, you might finish ahead of the Ducks and Flames.
You have all that talent for almost 2 decades or so, and don't have a single cup to show for it. It's the inverse of the Spurs during the same period of time. I'm not even close to being a fan, and I'm still disappointed in you. For shame.
I think Urinating Tree said it best. This team, it's like watching Groundhog Day without the humor in it.
San Jose Sharks? More like San Jose Shards.